Usually when you walk into a shop that sells crystals, your eyes are they're immediately drawn to the extremes.
Oh, absolutely. The big showy pieces.
Right. You see those perfectly polished spheres that look like miniature planets, or you see the really sharp, jagged points that look like something pulled straight out of a fantasy novel.
And totally demand your visual attention. You can't help but look at them.
Yeah, exactly. But if you look a little closer, maybe in a small wooden bowl near the register, you'll invariably find these quiet, unassuming little stones.
The ones people usually just gloss right over.
Exactly. They are rounded, slightly cylindrical, kind of bulging in the middle, and tapered at the ends. They just look like tiny barrels.
Which, to the untrained eye, they just look like mass-produced tumbled rocks.
Right, just pocket rocks. But welcome back to the deep dive, by the way. If you are listening and you love those clear aha moments without all the dense info overload, you are in the right place.
We're definitely skipping the fluff today.
We really are. Because when you dive into the text, specifically this guide called The Rolling Vortex, Healing Properties of Barrel-Shaped Crystals, along with some pretty profound practical insights from the Shop Crystals by Rob, you realize something wild.
That this unassuming geometry is actually like a masterclass in energetic engineering.
Yes. Our mission today is to shortcut your understanding of exactly why crystal geometry matters. We're looking at why the functional physics of the barrel shape fundamentally changes how subtle energy operates.
It's a complete paradigm shift, really, in how we approach these tools.
Totally.
Because when you move away from the visual drama of a point or a sphere, you start to look at the crystal not as a static object of display, but as an active ergonomic mechanism.
So, okay, let's unpack this, because before we can explore what these crystals allegedly do for the mind or the spirit, we have to understand the physical architecture of the shape itself.
Right, the form and the function are entirely inseparable here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the rolling vortex defines the barrel cut very specifically. It's a rounded cylinder, an expanded or bulging equator, tapering down to tips that are, usually flat or slightly domed.
And what's fascinating here is that specific geometric profile dictates exactly how the energy behaves.
Like how a lens changes light.
Precisely. Much like a lens. The text actually proposes a really fascinating comparative model. It states that a crystal sphere diffuses energy equally in all directions.
So it acts like a lantern, just passively glowing?
Right, a passive glow. But a crystal point, conversely, acts like a laser. It directs energy in a highly concentrated linear beam.
So you have the lantern and the laser.
Exactly. But the barrel shape operates on an entirely different physical principle. The text refers to its output as a rolling vortex.
A rolling vortex. Calling it that completely changes the paradigm. It implies the crystal isn't just a static object, but like an active engine.
It is an active engine. The text argues that the flat ends in the bulging, rounded body create a specialized energetic conduit. It functions mechanically like a capacitor.
Or like a battery, right?
Yeah, a battery is a great way to think of it. The expanded middle has the capacity to store subtle energy. But because of the tapered, rounded sides, it continuously and steadily releases that energy.
Rather than just, discharging it all at once.
Right. It doesn't blast the field like a point, and it doesn't just sit there like a sphere. It actually regulates the output.
Regulates the output. And the texts apply that regulation directly to the human energy field. They specifically mention how it smooths out aura fuzziness.
Aura fuzziness, yes.
Which I love that term. It's basically taking the energetic, static electricity of daily life, the residual stress, the ambient anxiety, and grounding it, which instantly makes me think of baking.
Baking.
Yeah, it's like an energetic rolling pin for the lumpy dough of our aura.
Oh, wow. That is a perfect analogy. The rolling pin aligns perfectly with how the source describes them as master meridian cleansers.
Meridian cleansers.
Yeah, so if we look at the body's meridians as invisible highways of energetic circulation.
A chi?
Right, chi. A traffic jam on that highway manifests as an energetic knot. And the text argues that the long, rounded body of the barrel crystal is ergonomically designed to manually break up those traffic jams.
So the physical shape perfectly matches its energetic function.
Exactly. It's literally designed to be physically rolled over the skin or along the limbs, mechanically dispersing those blockages.
Okay, but that prompts a fundamental question for me about the physics of this whole interaction.
Okay, what is it?
Well, if the text claims this shape clears meridians, does the physical friction of rolling the crystal actually generate the energetic shift? Or is the geometry manipulating the subtle energy purely by existing in the aura, even if it's just, sitting perfectly still in your palm?
That's a really good distinction. The source material posits that it's actually a synergistic combination of both.
Oh, both. Okay.
Yeah, the geometric design naturally manipulates the subtle energy field just by existing within it, acting as that steady release battery we talked about.
Right.
However, the text heavily emphasizes that the ergonomic design is an invitation to physically engage with the body's tissues.
So you're supposed to actually rub it on yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you physically roll it, you are layering the subtle vibrational frequency of the mineral with a tangible stimulation of your central nervous system.
And localized blood flow, I imagine.
Right. The shape essentially forces a merger between physical massage and subtle energetic healing.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we have this mechanical rolling pin smoothing out localized energetic fuzziness. And if this shape is fundamentally designed to regulate and smooth out energetic traffic jams, it logically follows that the text translates this directly into emotional regulation.
It scales up flawlessly. The texts argue that physical and energetic properties are really just the foundation for emotional application.
And here's where it gets really interesting for the listener, I think. The source material introduces this brilliant metaphor referring to the beryl crystal as a stabilizing wheel for our emotional state.
Yes.
It's presenting the crystal as a literal emotional gyroscope.
A gyroscope is the exact right mechanical parallel here. Think about the physics of a gyroscope for a second.
Okay.
It relies on a spinning mass to resist any changes to its axis of rotation. It maintains stability through momentum.
Right. It keeps things upright.
Exactly. And the text asserts that the barrel shape is exceptionally effective for people experiencing extreme emotional turbulence.
Like when you feel your emotions are just spinning out of control.
Yeah, when they're knocking you off your axis, the barrel acts as that stabilizing mass to keep you upright.
Okay. I follow the logic of a stabilizing wheel acting as a braking mechanism for chaotic, spinning emotions. It grounds the turbulence.
Right.
But I have to push back on the text's subsequent claim here.
Okay, let's hear it.
The source also states that this exact same shape is the ideal tool for someone who is completely emotionally stuck and stagnant.
Yes, it does.
So, if its primary mechanical function is to act as a stabilizing brake to calm things down, how does it simultaneously act as a catalyst for someone whose emotions are already not moving?
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, we really have to look at the source's definition of what an emotion actually is.
Okay.
The text views emotion as energy in motion. It is biologically and energetically meant to flow.
Always moving.
Always. So when a person is spinning out of control, that energy is chaotic and uncontained. But when a person is stuck or depressed, that energy hasn't disappeared.
It's just pooled.
Exactly. It is pooled. It's become a heavy, dense blockage. So the text argues that the barrel shape doesn't just act as a brake. It restores a manageable rhythmic flow.
Like a pump.
Yes, it operates like a pump. It takes that pooled, heavy emotional energy and gently forces it to circulate again so it doesn't settle and become toxic to the system.
Wow, so it ensures the emotional baseline neither explodes into chaos nor stagnates into apathy.
Precisely. And the text calls this resulting balanced state unshakable composure.
Unshakable composure. I mean, that is a state of being I think everyone listening is actively striving for.
Oh, without a doubt.
And the text gets highly specific about the mineral compositions required to maximize this gyroscopic effect, too.
It does. It pairs the geometry with very specific minerals.
Yeah, for heart-centered emotional regulation, it highlights stones like rose quartz for processing heartbreak and forgiveness, and green aventurine for optimism and emotional renewal.
But it's not just prescribing the stones, right? It's the physical application.
Right. The sources suggest holding a barrel-shaped lepidolite while journaling, or physically massaging the chest and solar plexus with smoky quartz to manually release the heavy tension of stress.
Which again reinforces the physical mechanics of the shape. I mean, why use a barrel of rose quartz for heartbreak?
Because heartbreak feels heavy.
Exactly. It often manifests as a literal physical heaviness or pooling of energy in the chest cavity. The text is suggesting that by taking the rounded barrel and manually massaging the sternum, you are physically breaking up that pooled emotional energy.
While the crystal-specific frequency softens the trauma.
Right. It's a highly tactile process.
You are literally rolling the stagnant stress right out of your physical tissues.
Yeah.
But if we pull the lens back even further, we transition from the physical rolling pin up to the emotional gyroscope and finally into the broader spiritual architecture of the human energy field.
The big picture.
Right. If the barrel regulates emotional flow, the text argues it is the ultimate shape for aligning the larger energy centers, the chakras.
Yes, the text moves from localized emotional flow to systemic spiritual alignment.
Yeah.
And it introduces a really profound layer of spiritual symbolism here.
The sacred pillar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Referring to the barrel shape as the sacred pillar, it draws a parallel to the axis mundi, the mythological world tree.
Oh, I love that.
Right. Acting as the structural bridge that connects the dense grounding energy of the earth with the expansive, higher frequency energy of the sky.
The idea of holding a miniature axis mundi right in the palm of your hand is such a striking visual.
It really is.
And the text claims this specific geometry teaches the spirit a vital lesson: how to balance internal structural strength with external flexibility.
Which is incredibly hard to do.
It is. It teaches the subtle body how to roll with divine timing, but while remaining rigidly anchored to a core purpose.
And that specific tension between anchoring and rolling is exactly what the text claims is required for proper systemic chakra alignment.
Yeah.
But the source material does something highly unconventional here.
Okay, yeah.
It provides a comprehensive 9-chakra alignment guide.
Right. And this is where I need to introduce some friction, because most traditional spiritual frameworks and standard literature really cap the human chakra system strictly at 7 nodes.
That's the standard model, yeah.
So what is the functional systemic purpose of the text, adding 2 additional nodes completely outside the physical body? And why is the barrel shape specifically required to interact with them?
This raises an important question about how we maintain alignment. The text argues that the 7-chakra system is limited strictly to the physical vessel. But the 9-chakra system acknowledges the wider, subtle anatomy.
Okay.
It introduces the Earth Star chakra, which is located roughly 6 to 12 inches below the feet.
Below the feet.
Yeah, acting as the ultimate grounding anchor into the planet's grid. And then it introduces the Soul Star chakra, located above the head, acting as the gateway to the higher self.
So you have these 2 external anchor points.
Exactly. And the reason the text mandates the barrel shape for this expanded map is continuity. If you use a crystal point to connect these external transpersonal chakras to your physical body, the energy risks being blasted outward, right?
Oh, severing the connection.
Exactly. But the barrel's rounded, steady release capacity creates a continuous, unbroken feedback loop.
So it pulls the energy up from the Earth Star, rolls it seamlessly through the physical body, and extends it up to the Soul Star without stalling or jarring the system.
That's the exact mechanic.
That makes it much clearer. It acts as an uninterrupted conduit. And while we obviously won't walk through all 9 placements today, the text does give highly specific combinations of mineral density and geometry to facilitate this flow.
Right, the specific stones matter.
Yeah, for example, it pairs red jasper with the physical root chakra at the base of the spine. When the text pairs a dense, heavy mineral like red jasper with the root, it's leveraging the barrel's rolling vortex to actively circulate that heavy grounding energy.
So it prevents the grounding effect from just pooling into lethargy.
Exactly. Or consider the solar plexus, the center of personal power. The text specifically instructs the user to take a citrine barrel and roll it in a clockwise motion over the upper abdomen.
The physical motion is key there.
Right. The geometry of the barrel, combined with the clockwise physical rotation, acts like a literal dynamo, generating and radiating that empowering energy outward.
It's so active.
But looking at this from the perspective of a listener who might be, entirely new to this expanded architecture, if aligning 9 distinct energetic nodes requires the precision of, say, tuning a massively complex musical instrument, where does a beginner even start?
It's a lot to take in.
It is. If someone is sitting there thinking a 9-point system is completely overwhelming, what is the most vital starting point for this tuning process using the barrel shape?
Well, the source material is very clear on this. Do not attempt to tune the entire symphony at once.
Okay.
If the instrument is entirely out of tune.
That's a relief.
Yeah, if you are overwhelmed, you start exclusively with the anger. You tune the deepest, lowest string first.
So the Earth Star.
Yes. The text advises focusing solely on the Earth Star, or the physical root, using a dense stone like smoky quartz. Because the barrel's primary function is acting as that stabilizing whale. Applying it to your absolute base provides immediate systemic relief.
That makes sense.
If your foundational energy is frantic, Trying to simultaneously open your third eye or crown is just going to amplify the chaotic spinning.
You're just spinning faster.
Right. You just roll that grounding beryl crystal under the sole of your foot, and you let that steady release battery anchor the entire structure.
That is a highly pragmatic approach,
Right.
which actually transitions perfectly into how we actually integrate these tools into modern life.
The real-world application.
Right, because mapping our 9-chakra spiritual instrument is wonderful in the theoretical vacuum of a quiet meditation room. But how does the text suggest we carry this highly calibrated energetic practice into, say, a crowded subway, or a tense corporate boardroom, or just a chaotic household?
This is where the secondary source material, the Insights from the Shop Crystals by Rob, provides the necessary grounding. Rob's approach strips away the esoteric theory and focuses entirely on the practical, tactile realities of daily integration.
Which I appreciate so much. Rob's shop notes argue that if these crystals are fundamentally designed to prevent emotional stagnation, keeping them permanently trapped on a pristine meditation altar entirely defeats their purpose.
Movement is required.
Exactly. The notes heavily advocate for using them as daily carry items, keeping them in a pocket as worry stones, placing an amethyst under a pillow to regulate sleep cycles, or physically taking a moment at your workspace to do a manual aura sweep.
Rob introduces a crucial concept here, emphasizing that these barrel-shaped tools are designed for steady transformation.
Steady transformation.
Yeah, in the modern spiritual community, there is often this dangerous appetite for massive, rapid, energetic shifts.
Everyone wants the instantaneous breakthrough.
Right. But Rob points out that those violent shifts often leave the nervous system completely depleted and overwhelmed. The barrel shape's continuous release mechanism provides consistent, low-dose, nurturing energy.
So it prioritizes lasting structural balance over time.
Exactly.
But I wonder about the dilution of that intent.
What do you mean?
So if I just casually toss a finely tuned piece of subtle energetic technology into my pocket alongside my car keys and some spare change, does that lack of ceremony dilute its profound spiritual power? Or is that simple, almost thoughtless, tactile comfort actually the necessary gateway to doing the deeper energetic work Rob talks about?
According to Rob's framework, it is absolutely the gateway. He literally refers to these shapes as tactile gateways to higher consciousness.
Oh, wow.
You are not diluting the power by tossing it in your pocket. You are actively building an energetic biofeedback loop with the stone.
A biofeedback loop.
Yeah, the subconscious friction of your thumb rubbing the rounded side of that crystal while you are, say, navigating a stressful phone call. That is exactly what keeps that steady transformation active.
It's happening in real time.
Yes. The physical engagement keeps the energetic battery discharging precisely when you need it most.
It just bypasses the intellectual mind and goes straight to the nervous system.
Precisely. And Rob's notes also provide a roadmap for how to intentionally elevate that everyday practice when the user is actually ready.
Right.
He discusses pairing the barrel shape's regulating energy with somatic breathwork. He highlights utilizing the natural gravitational cycles of the moon, specifically mentioning full moon ceremonies, like the recent pink moon.
Oh, yeah, to amplify the crystal's inherent capacity for emotional release and renewal.
Right. He stresses that because the barrel acts as an energetic battery constantly processing your ambient fuzziness, it requires regular cleansing under that full moon to clear the stagnant buildup.
You have to empty the vacuum cleaner, basically, to maintain a high vibration charge.
Exactly.
I found his specific mineral pairings in the shop notes incredibly insightful regarding deep trauma, too. He advocates combining a rose quartz barrel and an amethyst barrel specifically for clients actively working through profound grief.
The mechanics of why that works are fascinating.
Yeah, because the rose quartz acts on the heart center to soften and nurture the localized trauma, while the amethyst acts on the upper chakras to break the overwhelming mental loop of anxiety.
And the ergonomic shape guarantees the user can comfortably hold both simultaneously.
Right, in their hands.
Yeah, ensuring that continuous dual frequency is regulating their field during acute distress.
It is a perfectly engineered, energetic prescription. The smooth, unobtrusive shape practically begs the user to keep them in hand, which is, well, the entire point.
The healing frequency remains in constant, uninterrupted contact with the auric field precisely when the system is most vulnerable.
Wow. We have covered an immense amount of esoteric and mechanical ground today.
We really have.
For you listening, if we synthesize everything from the rolling vortex and the practical wisdom of crystals by Rob, the barrel crystal reveals itself as 3 profound technologies housed within one unassuming geometry.
3 in 1.
Yeah. Physically, it operates as a capacitor and a battery for your subtle energy, storing life force and steadily releasing it to manually smooth out your localized aura.
Right.
Emotionally, it functions as a gyroscopic stabilizing wheel, establishing a baseline flow that prevents you from spinning into chaos or pooling into deep stagnation.
And spiritually?
Spiritually, it acts as the continuous tuning peg for your expanded chakra system. The sacred pillar serving as an unbroken conduit between the Earth star below and the Soul star above.
It stands as a brilliant testament to the fact that the most effective tools rarely require the most dramatic presentation.
So true.
By intentionally looking past the visually aggressive points and the diffuse spheres, you unlock an instrument of incredible mechanical and energetic precision.
Thank you so much for bringing these specific sources to the table. There is immense value in looking past the obvious flashy shapes that dominate the crystal shops and discovering the functional ergonomic brilliance of the barrel cut. Understanding the underlying physics of how it moves energy completely alters how you interact with these tools on a daily basis.
It is a potent reminder that the mechanisms that quietly and consistently keep our structures balanced are often the most advanced technologies we possess.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, there is one final, subtle historical detail buried in the text that provides a completely different context for everything we've discussed today.
Well, this part is fascinating.
The source notes that historically, across multiple ancient civilizations, the cylindrical barrel shape was strictly utilized for ancient scrolls and cylinder seals. Objects fundamentally designed to hold and protect the records of time.
The records of time.
Yeah. So we leave you with this final thought to mull over. When you hold a barrel-shaped crystal in the palm of your hand, what if the deep comfort you feel isn't just the physical ergonomics of smooth stone?
What if it's something older?
Exactly. What if the simple act of holding that cylinder is subtly unlocking a muscle memory buried deep within human DNA, a subconscious evolutionary recognition that you are physically holding on to ancient wisdom just waiting to be unrolled?
That is a staggering implication regarding how our physical bodies remember and interact with geometry.
Keep that possibility in mind the next time you reach for a simple tumbled stone. Until next time, keep diving deep.